What time is it? Stand with me for the reading of God's Word. Esther chapter 4, verse 14. What time is it? What time is it? Esther chapter 4 and verse 14. The Bible said, "If thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Say with me what time it is. Father, I thank you and I pray, Lord, that you would help us to make the most of this time. That this time don't be charted as wasted time. Let this message be a message that's on time for your people. We need an on-time word from an on-time God. And you are all of that and more. So Father, as we surrender our hearts to you for the next few moments, by way of this vessel, would you please communicate to your people. Give us ears to hear, heart to receive, and a mind to react. In Jesus' name, amen. I love, God bless you, you may be seated. I love Old Testament stories. I am a passionate lover of the Bible. But some of these grand stories have so much revelation in them, so much insight. Critical time, these stories evolve. If there ever was a story in the Bible that is so consistent with timing, this is probably one of the most profound ones. And just let me give you a little bit of the history here. God's people are in a very difficult place. Now this parallels with where we're at right now, because to be a Christian, God's people today, you're in a very interesting place. Very dangerous place, some parts of the world. Actually a life-challenging place, some parts of the world. A very outspoken resistance has evolved against those who name the name of Christ. There was no difference in the time of Esther. No difference. Esther, who come in the framework of time, a very critical time, because the need is greater than her. The need is greater. She understands that need. Esther chapter 4, as it unfolds in verse 11, says, all the king's servants, she's given commandment unto her cousin Mordecai, all the king's servants and the people of the king's province do know that whether man or woman shall come into the king in the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days. What she's saying is she's going to their law and custom. And in their law and custom, you couldn't just show up before the king. You couldn't just come unannounced. They could put you to death. There was a law that actually required that you be put to death. She hadn't been summoned for 30 days. So what she's saying to them is, there's no way I can tell if I'm even on his mind. He ain't called for me in 30 days. How you like that? Have your wife tucked away, she come only when you call her, and you ain't called for her in 30 days. You would think, hey man, come on married women, something wrong here. You ain't called for me in 30 days. Come on now, am I the only one with a thinking mind here now? You married to the woman and you ain't called for her in 30 days? Culture, custom, or not, something. That wouldn't work with First Lady. I'd take half of that. 30 days of actions and I ain't there, and you said, okay. All right, I'll leave that alone. That's another message. Look at somebody come, that definitely is another message. But it's worth thought, isn't it? 30 days he hasn't called for me. And if I do show up unannounced, I can be dealt with. Now, the critical time at this is that the previous circumstance that got her where she at was centered around a woman's relationship with her husband. Yeah. Well, let me get here some more. This is going to get good pretty quick. Mordecai, verse 12. They told him the words. And Mordecai commanded this answer to her. Think it not within thyself that you're going to escape the king's house more than all the Jews. Now, historically what has happened is there's been a decree that we want to kill all the Jews. And folks, an attack against God's people is not some weird thing. This has been going on from the day God made people. There's been an attack. And you see now mounting up from our political arena and even those with other religious beliefs, an attack against those who name the name Jesus. You know it's okay until you name Jesus? It is a problem. It's okay until you stand for righteousness and the things of Christ. Then there's a major problem. All of a sudden we're offended. You can worship the sun, nobody cares. You can worship a tree trunk, no problem. But the minute you bring up that name that is above every name, I got in trouble with a Jehovah's Witness when I mentioned Jesus. And boy, wasn't it on. We were friends until then. Then after that, we had to agree to disagree. Because she was offended that I put up the scripture at the name of Jesus. And there are people today, they hate you for Jesus. They hate you for having faith in him, trust in him. They hate your testimony you have about him. But look at somebody and tell them, you cannot make me doubt. I know too much about him. She is in a critical place as this decree and attack has come against them. And Mordecai is reminding her, don't you think you're safe because of where you are? When the enemy is after you, I don't care where you live or who you connected with or who you even married to. If the devil is after you, if you don't take a stand and get in a place of safety, he'll get to you. Yeah. You know, I worked in construction. I was fascinated. These folks, they spend millions of dollars to get on the other side of the gate. In a gated community, and the thieves got over the gate. They're trying to get in a safe place. So they feel like they're safe behind the gate. The gate ain't going to keep you safe. Cameras ain't going to keep you safe. You got to have God on your side, folks. Even with the most high-tech security system in place, people have fallen prey to some of the most heinous crimes. There's no safety like the safety of being in his arms. Somebody say amen. Amen. Esther, she gave Mordecai this answer. Verse 15. Go and gather all the Jews together. This is a serious moment. And the timing is so critical in this story. You gather everyone together. Fast. Folks, if ever there need to be a unified time that we come together for spiritual purposes, it is now. Yeah. Now, when you're talking fasting, you're talking some serious work here. Yeah. You're talking giving up the natural in order to gain in the spiritual. You don't play church when you want to fast. Hypocrites don't want to fast. People that don't love God don't want to go to this extreme. Coming to church and clapping and singing all fine. You talk about something that's going to cost you in the natural, you have to really be serious and sold out for the purposes of God in order to do this. She says you gather all of them together. Call a fast. Let's give it up. Let's give up eating. Let's give up TV. Let's give up the luxuries of life that we're sitting here bathing in. Let's get aside and let's call on the name of the Lord. Because if I don't get in sync with God and do something out of time, it's going to cost me and you. Yeah. And this is not my battle. It's our battle. Yeah. This is not just for those that have a bigger platform. This is the whole church at risk now, y'all. Yeah. We're in war zone now. It's a matter of life and death. Time is one of the most crucial things. And the timing has to be right. Well, God gave us time. He gave us the ability to measure things. I appreciate time. We do things in a timely fashion. Church started what time? 10:30. And we start at what? 10:30. Our Bible study start when? 7:30. Who get mad when church don't start on time? Pastor gets very upset. Who get upset when you don't come on time? Yeah, I like time. Time is important. Who get mad when you don't show up to work on your boss? Who will dock you and sometimes even send you home? I never forget, I had a helper. I was building Sunset Point. I was doing these condos, and I had this helper. I guess we became so friendly, he thought it was okay for him to keep coming to work 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I finally said, man, I'm tired of this boy. And then my boss said, I tell you what you do. You send him home. Don't let him get paid for the day. Hit his pocket. He'll straighten up. Man, I sent him home one day, told him to go back home, and when he decided he wanted to come to work and be to work, come home. Man, that stopped that. Stop that money. That stopped that. Boy, he started showing up on time. Beat me to work sometime. Why? He had no sense or respect for time. And somebody had to help him. Pet peeve of my mother, she's gone on now, but boy, she was a timely woman. She used to get mad at one of my brothers. I ain't gonna call no names, but he loved to go to work right at, if he had to be to work at 6 o'clock, if he was there at 6:58, it was too early. That's the way he was. Calling no name, but he's a minute man. He was a minute man all the way. Like I'm looking over there, man, I'm preaching. He was a minute man. And my mother is, if you wasn't there 30 minutes early, 15 minutes early, I guess that's where I got it from, y'all. She was just a time person. She wanted to go to work at 5:30. Work don't start till 6. But she just did not believe in rushing to do anything. She wanted to sit down, breathe, drink coffee or whatever. Chit chat, then go to work. And there's some people, you know, time matters to them. And in the business world, if you're going to do business with people of time, you sure better not start showing up to a deal that's going to make you some money late. You will lose that opportunity because you're not a person of your word. And that's where it all comes to. Time is important, and God gave us time so that we can measure and do things by, and thank God for it. Man has been able to calculate time to the point we even have daylight savings time. And some people wish they leave time alone. But one thing I do know, even though we have the ability to calculate and shift it around, we can't stop time. The clock keeps on ticking. Even if you move it an hour back, it's still clicking. You know, our smartphones update itself for us, and they keep moving, don't they? It don't stop, even though it set it back an hour, and it set it back an hour, it sets it back at an hour, and then a second starts rolling because time is on the move. Somebody even tried to change the effect of time on their body. Ladies are guilty of this. They lift up stuff, change stuff, trying to not show that time has had its course. I'm not bashing nobody for that. I'm just preaching, okay? But time will show. I told him I want to grow a beard, and my wife said, it's going to be great. I said, that's okay. It's all right. I have nothing to hide no more. I'm too old to be trying to hide anything. It's gray, it's great. Okay, we'll just have the gray. Some get wrinkles pulled up and pulled out, and I saw a thing on the other thing. You can get this cool stuff thing that sucks out the fat on you and make you skinny real quick. Couple of visits to the doctor, you can have this stuff frozen and disintegrated. Man, they shooting radar. I thought we were watching the Jetsons. No, it's real now. They got radar now. Go look it up. Cool sculpting. They can shoot radar in there and burn out your fat. You can get skinny quick now if you want. You know, the options are out there now. We don't want to show time on our bodies, so we change our bodies. We don't want to show time has had its effect on us. We buy a brand new car, and 10 years later, we're still trying to keep it clean, but after a while, it's going to show some age. I got this beautiful little picture of my kids holding our little puppy, who is far from a puppy right now, because time has caught up with her. She can't jump like she used to because she's, from what they say, as a dog, overweight, big, plump. But in this picture, she was just this little old 2-week-old puppy that we just could adore. Now she's too big to hold. Because time has had its way with her. She was pure white, now she's not. Time does have its effect on us. And for those of us that are in our 50s and we're not ashamed, you know, some of y'all, I'm looking out here and I'm not downing anybody, but some of you, you know, you got hair, some of you don't, some of it's gray. It wasn't always gray when you were first born. I can tell time has had an effect on everybody in you. And like it or not, I don't care how much dye you use, how much lipstick, makeup, I don't care how much you go and get anything tucked or whatever, you cannot stop time.
Come on.
I'm not against makeup, some people need some. I'm not against earrings and all that, there's nothing wrong with it. In moderation. But we can't stop time.
Yeah.
God's given us time. Only an eternal God can control time. In Revelation 1 and 4, John, to the 7 churches that are in Asia, he said, peace unto you from him, which is and was and is to come. He's eternal in time. When he said him, it should be capitalized because we're now giving reference to eternal God. God who speaks a word in a man's future. He's the only one who will speak a word in a man's future when he has not yet even come to pass. And God says, I've already ordained you. That's what he said, Jeremiah 1 and 5. I formed you. In the belly, I knew you. What time did you know me? Before I knew you. Good Lord, that's time. Before I even knew you, I knew you. Even knew you, I knew you. Before you came out of the womb, I'd already ordained you to be a prophet. So we can see God in his word and timing. He called Abraham out at the right time. Blessed him for his obedience. Tells him his descendants would end up in a country and suffer for 400 years. And to the day, 400 years, they were in Egypt. God is a God of time. They didn't know they were moving in prophetic destiny. 400 years, and God brought them out, and brought them out as he promised Abraham with great substance. Didn't come out empty-handed. Abraham had a son, Isaac, who had a son named Jacob, who has 12 sons. Joseph being one of them, God sent him ahead of time. God sent him ahead of time to everybody else. Why? Because when time comes for them to get out, I need a man in place. I need favor on these people. Joseph gets in there and he gets a place comfortable to be the leader in Egypt next to Pharaoh only. And wouldn't it be the right time that the people need to come and find a place of rest? He even said to them, and watch this. Joseph said in verse 19 of Genesis 50, he said, fear not, for I am in the place of God. What he's saying here is that God's timing has me where I'm at. I am where I'm at because God's timing has got me here. Now let me tell you folks, God is a God of timing, so that he knew every one of you would be here to hear this particular message. He knew that I would have this one picked to preach to you. God's time is so precise that you will walk away from here understanding the what, the when, and the why, and the how, because in timing God knows what you need to hear and when you need to hear it. And he knows how to work thousands of years ahead of us to make sure we're all here at the right time so that we can get a word that'll save us and keep some of us from going to hell, some of us from getting in an accident, some of us from getting a bad loan, some of us from getting in a bad relationship. God will make sure that you get right here to hear a word, and if the timing is right, that word will be precise and precision for you, and it'll help you. Somebody say amen. Amen. Time goes by and another Pharaoh comes up, people start crying. Now we got Moses. Moses was moving in the time of God. He didn't know it, but he was. And it was time to bring the people out of Egypt. 40 years journey. And what somebody said would take only 11 days. Even though it was God's time for them to go in and possess the land, it's man's responsibility to meet God's time. What he said, in the day you hear my voice, don't harden your heart. There's a timing in which God allows a man or a woman or a boy or a girl. I cannot control God's timing. There's a timing in which God opens the door and allows you to be able to respond to his call. That's why he said, in the day that you hear my voice, there's a day you'll hear and the person sitting next to you won't hear nothing you say, nothing about what you're hearing. Have you ever been there before? You've been in that place where you can hear God and the person right next to you didn't hear exactly what you heard, but you responded to what you hear because it was in the day that you heard his voice. And when you came to God, many of your friends that were next to you didn't come along with you. Why? They didn't hear what you heard. They didn't hear the Lord telling you, come on out of that. Stop doing that. Don't do that no more. They didn't hear that. They didn't hear God pulling on their heart and saying, it's time now. Enough is enough. They didn't get to the place where they hit bottom. They were still wondering, what in the world would you leave the tavern for? What would you leave the band for? What would you leave this drugs for? What would you leave all of this stuff for? It's for God. God is calling me. I can hear him. And in the day I hear his voice, there's no need to harden my heart. Because if I miss this timing, Lord knows if that time will ever come again. If I miss this opportunity, I don't know if I'll never have another opportunity. The old folks didn't have no theology, but they used to say, this may be the last time. It may be the last time. I don't know. It might be the last time that God will call me out of sin. It might be the last time I feel like I need to come forward and surrender my life to Jesus. It might be the last time I'll get a chance to pray with any kind of fervor. I don't know. Maybe the last time you might ever get a chance to say I'm sorry to somebody. Amen. Some people have died and folks regret it. They didn't get a chance to get issues right. Knew they should have got it right, but they didn't. Timing is so important. Even though it was God's timing, we're responsible for our timing. It's God's timing. But if we don't catch the timing of God, we'll miss God. Ecclesiastes 3:1 said, to everything there is a time, Brother Bonds, and a season for every purpose. There is a time for every purpose under the heaven. There's a time that God has purpose, and in that timing, he wants men to work in it. Jesus didn't just come. The Bible said when the fullness of time was come, Jesus came. In the fullness of time was come, God sent his son. He didn't come no earlier, no later. He came at the right time. Koine Greek was the most unified language, and roadways were built. The gospel could go forth in an unprecedented manner, and it was the right time. Prepare me a body, come on, let's go. And it was the timing of God. God can bring you to your season. Let me tell you something. God can bring you to your season. But if your timing is off, you can miss the miracle of your season. Let me say that again.
Yeah, that's good.
God can bring you to your season. But if your timing is off, you can miss the miracle of your season because you wasn't in sync with God. Israel, think about them. They left Egypt, but they got stuck in the wilderness. That wasn't God's timing for them. He wanted to take them all the way on in. And even though it was their time to go in, their timing was off. While God was saying, praise me, they were being stuck up. While God was saying, let's go in, they were saying, we can't do it. They were bucking against God while God was bringing them somewhere. They were so busy out of sync with God. And the only thing they got right was leaving. They got on the other side and their timing was off. This ain't no time to complain about what you don't have. Come on here. This ain't no time to complain now. This is time to give God glory and praise. This is time to get in sync with God. And even though they were in the miracle of their time, the season was right. It's time for you to go in somewhere, not get stuck in the wilderness. Even though it was their time to go, their timing was off. When they should have been thanking God, they were complaining. When they should have been submitting to the will of God. Stay with me, brother. They were rebellion. Psalms 95:7 say, He is our God. For we are the people of his pasture, the sheep of his hand. Today, if ye will hear his voice. Why? You don't want to hear what he got to say tomorrow. Today, if you will hear his voice. Today is the day. Harden not your heart. And this is what's so critical. When Festus was being witnessed to by Paul and Augustus and all of them, when Paul was witnessing to them, he said, look at a more convenient time. God ain't waiting on your convenience. He wants you to respond as he's calling you. He said at a more convenient time, I'll come back. I heard one person tell me, well, I'm going to sow my royal oats first. I want to finish doing what I'm doing here. Ain't time for that. It's not time for that. It's not time for that. This is the time that we would be our brother's keeper. This is the time by which we would decide that we would love one another enough, that we would come together and we would operate like a family. This ain't the time to be stuck up in queue. This ain't the time to be a member of a church and be going through divorce and nobody know it. This is not the time for us to have jacked up children and we don't have one saint we can call on and say, pray with me. This is out of control. This is not the time for us to be isolated. This is the time for us to come together like never before. If there ever was a time, as Esther said, we need to come together. It's now.
Yeah, come on.
Up the road, we got two women raising a child. Down the road, we got two men getting married, raising a baby. Across the street, we got a man and a woman getting together, having a baby. And our children are going outside wondering what in the world is going on. We are jacked up, y'all. This is the time we need to come together. He said, harden not your hearts, as in the day of temptation in the wilderness. Verse 9, he says, when your fathers tempted me, they provoked me. They saw my work. 40 years I grieved with them. He said, this is a people that err in their heart, that have not known my ways. Unto whom I swear in my wrath, they'll not enter into my rest. Folks, you know the story. 12 spies went into the land. 12 spies went in. 12 spies who were supposed to just tell us what's good. 12 spies that were supposed to say we can do it. 12 spies that we had confidence in. That when you go, you're going to give us an accurate account based on our testimony, not based on what you've seen. Who cares about what you see? Our God is bigger than that. If he preserved us through all this, he brought us and brought us out of Egypt and all of that, surely he can handle whatever it is. But 10 of those spies came back jacked up. 10 of them kept saying we can't do it. We look like grasshoppers. 10 of them had a bad report. What timing is that? Folks, when you're up against hell and then somebody come giving you a negative report, you don't want to hear that. When you land in a hospital bed, you want somebody to come speak faith. You don't want nobody coming, well, do you got insurance? Who you want to preach your funeral? Who you want to pray over you? Who you want to sing at your funeral? I'll never forget, my wife sung so good somewhere. A lady walked up to her and said, when I die, I want you to sing at my funeral. I said, why don't you enjoy it while you're living, honey? Why don't you? I couldn't understand that to save my life. I think she was just so happy she didn't know what to say. But she said that when I die, I want you to preach my funeral. I want you to sing this song at my funeral.
Come on, bro.
Timing. If you know what time it is, you know it's time to pray. If you know what time it is, you know how to pray. Somebody begin to pray. Call on the name of the Lord in the name of Jesus. Hallelujah, hallelujah. My God, we bless your name today. We glorify you today. Come on, somebody of faith pray. Father, we give you glory, we give you praise. In the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. Oh, glory to God, glory to God. Hallelujah to God. We bless your name. We give you glory, honor, and praise. You'll be all right. We give you glory, honor, and praise. In the name of Jesus. Come on, somebody bless his name. In the name of Jesus. We plead the blood. We plead the blood. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we bind the work of the enemy now. And we ask, Lord, that you would do an awesome work. In the name of Jesus, Lord. This is the time for miracle. This is the time of blessings, Lord. Send it down, Lord. In the name of Jesus, Lord. Jesus, Jesus. Hallelujah. Oh, bless your wonderful name. Bless your name, bless your name. Hallelujah. It's my time, Lord. Hallelujah. Show yourself strong. In the name of Jesus. Somebody begin to thank God for what he's going to do. Somebody begin to thank God. There's healing in this word. 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 There's a healing in this room. There's a healing in this word. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, bless his name. 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 Hallelujah. 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 Oh God. Oh my God. In the name of Jesus. Right now. Release right now. Release it right now. In the name of Jesus. Release right now. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Release right now. Release him right now. In the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. 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 It's going to be all right. I got a word. There's healing in this word, y'all. There's healing in this word. Hallelujah. 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 Y'all pull up a chair right now and keep praying for me. The word of God is going to bring healing. You're going to see a miracle in this room today. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Upset. Upset they were. Upset. He's going to be all right. Upset that they could not see the hand of God. Upset. Upset. He's coming. Upset. Ain't nobody mad but the devil. Somebody worship the Lord. Hallelujah. Come on, somebody worship the Lord. Hallelujah. 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 Thank you, baby. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Esther comes in the window. I've been prepared for this moment, folks, so don't fret. No need to call nobody anything. This is going to be okay. Trust me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Esther comes in place in a window of opportunity. She comes in place at a time when God needs her. What has happened in the land? There's been gross disrespect. The king has had a party. He has called. He has called for. He has called for his wife to come forth. He had a wife named Vashti. Verse 11 of Esther chapter 1. He says, bring her before the king. Bring her. I want to show her. I want her beauty to go forth. Hallelujah. I want her beauty to go forth. She comes. No, she don't. She refused to come. She refused to come. She refuses to do anything that her husband says. Look what God. And it's timing. The Bible says the queen refused to come to the king. And this was before not just him, all of his side men, all of his leadership, all of them right there. And he was angry. Not just angry at the fact that she would not come. She's angry. He's angry at the idea that she would disrespect him like this. So he asked these men, these wise men, who's right by his side. He said, look, what are we going to do? Verse 15, it says, what shall we do unto the queen according to the law, because she has not performed the commandments of the king? One of them answered and said unto the king, she have not just done wrong to the king only. Look at this. She has not done wrong to the king only. But what she hath done has caused a major problem when it comes to women, husbands, and the mannerism by which a woman is to honor and respect her husband. She's made a bold statement. Now you see a day and age now where women don't respect men. You see a day and age now where women want to dominate men. Most of our workforce now is made up of women. A higher percentage of high-level jobs are held by women. And a lot of marriages have fallen in trouble. I told you it's going to be high. Because of women who don't understand that God called for a certain mannerism in how you interact with your husband. What this woman has done is made a statement of rebellion against against husbands, and every woman is going to pattern after this statement if nothing is done. This is why this can't go unaddressed. This is worldly people coming to this conclusion. He says, look, what she has done, look at this. In verse 16, he said, Menachem answered the king and the princes. He said, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king. For this deed of the queen shall not come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands and disrespect them. The Bible speaks very clear about this. A woman is to honor her husband, respect her husband. You don't belittle your husband. You don't down him in public. You don't down him in private. And for what she has done in a public manner, has made a very public statement about how she viewed her husband. Thank you, Jesus. Somebody give God praise. He said here, the king commanded Vashti to be brought before him, and she came not. She didn't honor and respect the wishes of her husband. Likewise, all the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. This shall thus arise too much contempt. Esther had a cousin named Mordecai who refused to honor Haman. He refused to honor Haman and ignited war between the two. He ignited war between the two. In this igniting of war, there was a disrespect. Saul didn't reverence Haman as Haman wanted to. Well, there's a history here because Mordecai is a descendant of the tribe of Benjamin. And Haman comes from the descendant of Agag. It was Agag, the tribe of Agag, that attacked the Israelites when they came out of Egypt and was going forth. It was them that attacked them. And God had promised to deal with them for it. because the way they attacked them was cowardly. Saul, who was given the commandment that ignited war between the tribe of Benjamin and the Agites, God had told Saul, you go and kill them all. And he didn't do it. And the Lord said unto him in 1 Samuel 15:1, Samuel said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee the king over the people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember what Amalek did to Israel. Now he laid wait for him in the way. He came up to Egypt. He said, now I want you to go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all they have. So the reluctance to do this was critical. And there was always this friction between the two. So the timing of this is so important and critical, as this man has now launched an all-out attack against the people of God. And he had leeway from the king. Money was paid to wipe out all the Jews. If you remember, that was Hitler's quest. Kill all the Jews. What has radical Muslim declared? We're going to kill all these Jews. In Minnesota, they've just elected a Muslim senator who has vowed hatred against Israel. And you know what she said? This is a matter of public record. She hates all white men because they hate Muslims. And she's saying they should be banished. This is public. This is what Minnesota has elected to their senator. And she has challenged a 100-plus-year-old law so she can wear her religious turban in the Senate floor. A rule that has been forbidden to wear any religious head garment on the Senate floor. Many of my political associates are saying she's going to get it. And it's going to make a statement. And it's going to say, y'all, we're open now. It's open door now. We respect and have everything going on now. We got a woman, not just a woman, we got a Muslim woman. Well, it started like that in Europe. If you don't understand what's happened in Germany and Europe, take a good look. London has been taken over. They now have a Muslim mayor who turned his back on the crimes that were being committed by Muslims, because under their Sharia law, which they have the presidents to disrespect women and do whatever they want, and anybody who is antagonistic against them, they will murder them. And he's literally turned his back on them because he's not going to go against his brother. There's a town outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Muslims have taken over. You think they like Christians? They built a temple so big right next to an evangelical church. It's an intimidation tactic. They built a temple so big and took the town over, and they had enough babies. See, we don't want to have babies now, you know. They had enough babies and raised up enough voters that they could vote their people in, and now the law is Sharia law in a little town outside of Detroit, Michigan. And there are no-go zones in America that you can't go in because they've taken them over. Keep ignoring it. It's moving. Our timing, folks, is so critical. This is the time for our deliverance. This is the time for us to come together. And notice what Esther said. Let's come together and proclaim a fast. Because this is the time that we come out, and not just come out empty, but we need to come out with substance. We need to come out with our grandchildren. We need to come out with our children. We need to come out with those the enemy has tried his best to destroy. We need to come out. We don't need to stay in this. We've been here long enough. Some of us have been down and hurt long enough, and the time has come now that you have real joy, not this kind of fake stuff that just go on while the singing is going on and the music is just good. This is the kind of stuff we need that's going to help us to get us sleep at night. Somebody say amen. When you can't sleep at night and the enemy is just totally flooding your mind and your mind can't rest. And you know, we can smile on the outside, but deep down on the inside, it can be real hell going on. And only the devil can stop. You got to know how to stop that devil right right in his track. This kind is not going to come out by us just clapping and singing. We got to come to God and get in sync with God and do things the way God say do them. And when we do, we will see all of this stuff change. We will see our lives take a different path. We will see the things that was totally dim become clear to us now. Why? When you turn your eyes on Jesus. Somebody shout Jesus. When you turn your eyes on Jesus and start calling on his name, demons will tremble. That's why when he came on the other side of the ship and everybody was on the boat, Jesus came on the other side. A demon-driven man came to Jesus and said, what are you doing here now? It ain't my time now. Oh, yes, it is. It's time for you to come out of here. Somebody say amen. It's time for me to get some peace now. That man started running to Jesus. Why? I've been here long enough. I've been down long enough. Been hurt long enough. Been without joy long enough. My joy was wrapped up in a husband. It was wrapped up in a bank account. It was wrapped up in my job. But I don't have it no more. But what I got now will give me joy unspeakable and full of glory. What I got now will give me power late in the midnight hour. What I got now, the world can't give it, and the world can't take it away. It's my time for my God to do my thing right about now. Everything is falling in y'all. Body is going through stuff, but it's time to call on the name of the Lord. It's time to praise God like never before. It's time to give him glory. Somebody clap your hands and give the Lord glory. It's time to honor God. Somebody saying, what you doing that for? It's bad now. Hell is coming your house. The devil done wrecked his head up, but it's time to praise the Lord. If you can just praise God, he'll show up and show out. You've been here long enough. The Lord said to the people, you have been here long enough. You have been here more than you need to be. You have been going through this long enough. You've been crying long enough. You've been hurt long enough. It's time for you to realize now what some real joy is. I'm not talking about a joint now. I'm not talking about cocaine. I'm not talking about no drink now. I'm talking about the Holy Ghost moving everything that can't be moved. Somebody holler, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time. Clap your hands. It's my time. It's my time. It's my time. I told my family because I was fighting God. Didn't want to start a church. I was so content trying to go somewhere. Surely somebody could see me anointed and let me take over. Surely somebody would just say, here, do this. God said, no, it's not going to come easy. You're going to have to work for this, but it's going to come. So in the timing of God, we started Heart to Heart Ministries. I was already labeled and branded. It didn't matter because I knew what God was saying. Everybody's saying you're weird, you're strange, you got tight knit on your family. Y'all don't go nowhere, you don't do nothing, you need to loosen up. Well, the reason why they're here with me is because I kept them here with me. The reason why they don't want to go nowhere is because I kept them here with me. This is the time you got to put a single circle of safety around your children. This is the time that you got to raise them up in the fear of the Lord. You got to teach them how to pray. I know some of y'all think it's funny and weird, but you better learn how to pray. You better get radical about it because it is dangerous times now. You don't know who's coming in and coming out. You don't know who's coming in to destroy. You don't know how life is going to throw some of the stuff they throw at you. And I'm telling you now, it's time now. If you never had a relationship with the Lord, I want to end on this note. You have dwelt in sin long enough. You have dwelt on the other side long enough until you come to Jesus. None of that stuff you want fixed is going to get fixed. But he said, come unto me, all you that are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. It's a yoke to bear. Yeah, you got to learn of me. You got to be willing to identify with me. But if you come unto me, all you that are weary, he said, I'll give you rest. Look at somebody and tell them, I need some rest. I need some rest. I need some rest. I need to know what it's like to get a good night's rest. I need some rest. I need God like never before. I need God to come in and show up on my behalf. Not only do I need some rest, I need peace. I'm talking to people in here. Your peace has been shattered. Life has thrown what's thrown in you. The Lord spake in Horeb and said, look, you've been here long enough. Long enough your house has been wrecked. Let me put it together. Long enough your marriage has been under attack. Come on.
Come on, bro.
Long enough your children is doing what they're doing. Long enough. I made some decisions about mine. We'll sit down and have a talk. But it's been long enough now. It's time to go to the next level. And we're not taking this junk to the next level. It's heart to heart. It is time to go somewhere. Some of you might not want to go with me. That's okay. I love you though. But it's time to go somewhere. We've been here long enough. You know, everybody didn't understand when we were leaving the Spanish church and they were saying, when you leave and everything is comfortable and nice, you know, you pay your rent on time, all that. But what they didn't understand is God's time, and it was time for us to go. We ended up in the mall, in the meeting room. How many of y'all were there with me? In the mall. Everybody was saying, what you doing there in that mall? I mean, God's time. God told me to go in that mall and preach, and sometimes we had that door wide open as people were walking through that mall. They were hearing the gospel. Some of you are the very product of people that were walking through, going minding your own business. Some of you were going over there to another church, but while you were coming through, you heard something. And in the timing of God, He made sure you were coming through there at the right time, at the right place, at the time that God would have you to hear what you need to hear.
Hallelujah.
God said, you're going to be here for a season, but this is not where you're going. Timing. Somebody say timing. They told us we had to go. That wasn't my timing. God, what do I do? The human effort kicked in. I started looking. Started trying to work it out. Didn't know that God in His timing had a time for us. A place for us. I didn't have nothing. But in that time, God touched. All He took is one person to touch it. He touched one person. That's all He needs. To me, I think all you need is God's touch. He touched the right one and it's over. Case closed. Deal done. And when God got through, it was it, man. We just came on in here. I went from nothing to everything I needed and more. Everything I need. The timing was right. Now what if you give up preaching and you miss time? What if you give up living for God and you miss your time? Hung up on a season. They were so hung up on wanting water when God was trying to get them to milk and honey. Their timing was off. This is not the time to complain. Some of you are complacent. You need to stop complaining. I know it's bad. It ain't bad as others. I wish I could package up a couple of young people and take you somewhere. I would love to take you somewhere. You'll come back and treat your mama with some love. I'll take you somewhere. I ain't got to do nothing to you. Just take you somewhere. Let you stay a week somewhere else. Get you out of your Nintendo and out of that Xbox and get you out of your Nikes and let you go over there for a week or two. And let you experience what they experience over there. You'll stop, I want a bigger house. Man, I'm just glad we got a house. I'm glad we got food. I don't care if I got to eat something. You don't know what you put mom and dad through with your mouth sometimes. Just wanting and do it. This is the right time for everybody to be here. Some of you are so out of sync with being grateful, you need a little heavy-set preacher like me to tell you, this is the time to be thankful like never before. You did not have to be born in America. I was so upset. My mama packed her bags and left my daddy on his lunch break. That's how bad it got. Don't talk about it that much, but she did. She packed her bags on her lunch break and she left and came down here with 9 children. My mother got on welfare and went to school, and she worked at the Buckingham Nursing Home at night. She got her degree in nursing and retired 30 years later at Flagler Hospital. And it was hard for us. It was difficult, but she did it. We had to take a lesson in being grateful. Some of y'all, and I'll just say it, are so ungrateful. It is so sad. What all my mother was going through, we had the nerve to start putting her through hell. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm going to help somebody in here today. What all my mother was going through, we started putting her through hell. I had one brother, he just started stealing, and then we started smoking reefer and running the streets. We started acting like a fool. And let me tell you how bad it got. Can I tell it, baby? It got so bad, my grandmother called my dad and said, if you don't come get these kids, I'm calling the state. My mother wept because she couldn't handle us. But Daddy came down. He came down and packaged us up and took us back to Philadelphia. That saved our life. But he started beating our behind and teaching us some respect. I wouldn't hurt, I don't want to beat nobody, but I'm telling you, some of you need a one-on-one with respect. I didn't realize how bad it was for my mother already. And we were adding injury to the insult. She was already struggling on her own. She was all by herself for the first time in her life with 9 kids struggling, trying to make it. All she knew is in the timing of God, I got to get out of this. So she packed us up and tried her best to keep us together. We didn't appreciate it. A bunch of ungrates. Encouraging some to be crazy while we were being crazy. Oh, Mother, it's healing in here for somebody. If my grandmother hadn't got the nerve to call my dad and say, look, come get these kids. Who do we need to call for you? Come on. Who do I need to call for some of you? Because I'm telling you, if we don't call somebody, there's a cemetery somewhere. There's a jailhouse somewhere. There is somebody that is willing to take up the slack, but they won't be as nice as your mother or your father or whoever it is that is fighting to keep you surviving. So the next time you fussing because you want Nikes and you don't want to eat home cooked food, you want to go to Burger King, forget about that and think about what this little fat preacher said today. Be grateful. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Please appreciate it. I wish I could go there and pick my mother up and make her come alive. I wish I could. I wish I could dig her up from over there and bring her back. The only great joy I do have is knowing that before her eyes shut eternally, she saw this little crackhead become a preacher. She saw the little crackhead be saved. I can thank God for that. She didn't get to see me preach my first sermon. And I used to go and preach, and the greatest joy would be seeing my mother out there. Boy, let me tell you, if she could see me now. In God's timing, it was time for her to go. Some of you here, Brother Ray, raise your hand. He just cut the man's hair. He just cut the man's hair. God moved on him to tell the man, be careful out there. Get out of them streets. He wouldn't listen. Was it an hour? Wasn't even an hour. The man's dead. Shot dead. And Brother Ray looked at him and said, look, man, be careful out there. Get out of them streets. This is why Heart-to-Heart Ministries is called the Spiritual Emergency Room. Listen to me, hear my heart. That's all I have to give you. I don't have nothing else. I'm not seminary trained. I don't have a bishop over me dictating what to do. All I have is a heart. That's all I got. And here we always say, if you're good enough for God, you're good enough. before it's too late. Before it's too late. I got so many horror stories I can tell you. So many stories. Mine came up for some reason. Let me tell you. As a crack addict who was living with a mother, God showed up. I was so strung out on drugs. I'll tell my testimony and I'm done. I was so strung out on crack. I was playing in the band. Everything looked wonderful from the outside. From the inside, anybody that knew me that close knew I was messed up. My sister told my mother, you need to put him out. Along with the 3 other crack addicts she got living in the house. She probably should have listened to me, but she didn't. Because mothers do that. They have they have a knack to hang on to you when everybody else has let you go. Mothers that hang on to you and you can be smelling like poop, but they're going to hang on to you. They'll clean that up. What we do with that baby, right? You don't throw it away because that stuff's stinking. You know it's bad. Sometimes it makes you want to throw up, but you clean it up. You wash him, you oil him, and you hold him and hug him and love him. Why? You can poop on me. It's okay. I'll never get rid of you. And that's how God is. I was so messed up on drugs. I gave my mother money, said, hold this for me. I kept back what I thought I could control my habit in. Man, when I got through smoking that up, I was not done. But my money was around there with my mother, who had to sleep in a house with 4 crack addicts and a gun under her pillow. I decided I'm going to go in here and get my money. Some of y'all heard this story. I go in the room. Go in there to get my money. She slept on a pillow. Her bed was against the wall. That's where her pocketbook was. I would have had to reach over her to get it. I couldn't do that without waking her up, so I had to get a broom. And I was going to grab her pocketbook and slide it to me, because, you know, of course, it's my money. I felt justified in stealing my own money from her. Should have gave it to her, let her pay a bill or something. I go in there and get the broom. I grabbed the pocketbook. But I was so messed up on the drugs, Buddhist, I couldn't just slide it up and let it slide to me. I hit the ceiling. And when I hit the ceiling, my mother immediately woke up and came from under the pillow with her gun. It was an instinct. She could have shot this little cracked out fool trying to get another rock. I was trying to get another rock. What I did not know, that God had something for me. What I did not know is that God had a plan for me. My mother looked at me. Thank God she didn't pull that trigger. And she hollered Mike. They called me Michael. She said, Mike! I dropped it, turned around and walked out. It took forever for me to go to sleep. But when I finally went to sleep, Brother Alvin, I woke up to the sound of somebody humming in the kitchen, cooking breakfast, smelling good, and I was scared to get up because I knew I was caught and embarrassed. When I finally got up, I went in there and I said, good morning, Mama. I'm sorry. And for the first time, I admitted, I got a problem. See, some of you won't admit you got a problem. One of you need to admit you're angry. You're angry and you need to admit, I'm just angry and I don't even know why I'm angry. I need to get rid of this. My anger is just getting the best of me. And if I don't deal with it, it's going to deal with me. For the first time, I was willing to admit to my mother, I got a problem. I didn't want to do that before. When I finally admitted I got a problem, you know what she told me? She said, I know it's all right. I'm praying for you. Look at somebody and tell them, I'm praying for you. Yeah. I know you got a problem. I'm praying for you. I know your home is under attack. I'm praying for you. I know the devil got all in the minds of everybody and they're working against you. I'm praying for you. I know the enemy is coming like a flood. I'm praying for you. I know it ain't nothing but an attack of the enemy, but when we pray, God will hear. God will answer. That Sunday, I went to play at the Trade Winds Bar. I love that place. I can take you in that place and I can show you the place I was standing holding a bass guitar, playing reggae music. Thank God for reggae music. Because it was there that God spoke to me. It wasn't in church, y'all. It was there when God said, I'm going to bring you out. And sure enough, he brought me out. Let me tell you how God worked. My mother, when she watched what God did in changing me, come on and stand. She called my daddy and said, a preacher got him brainwashed. He got to be brainwashed. What she didn't know is that God had brainwashed me. He had washed my brain. He had communicated to my system I didn't need this and that no more. And when I mean this and that, it was crack, it was marijuana, it was alcohol. He took it away. I didn't go to rehab. And you know people spend thousands of dollars trying to kick it. What I want to tell you is God can and will. Are you willing to admit it's me? Repentance is not an option, y'all. It's a commandment. If you're willing to admit it's bad, if you're willing to admit God, it hurts, God will work with you. Right now, I want to pray for you. Every head bowed, every eye closed. Don't look.